Hello, Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another segment here on Project Purpose. For those of you who are new, we cover topics that relate to mental health, mental wellness, and education on a week-by-week basis. And today's topic of discussion is education. On the conversation around education, I want to talk about confidence, how we build and develop confidence, and then more importantly, how we sustain it. Because just because you've built confidence for a given stage and phase in your life doesn't mean it carries over into a new stage or phase. It involves intention. And on this beautiful hot summer Portuguese day, I want to talk a little bit about how we master inner confidence. And so I'm going to go against the vein of popular opinion and tell you that no matter how many people think that you have every reason to be confident, that does not actually inform your sense of self-confidence. A lot of people who are rooting for them, who believe in them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they internalize that messaging as confidence. It could even, for the worst cases, create a lot more insecurity because here they have all these people believing in them and they haven't yet cultivated that confidence within themselves. And so what this is called a lot of the time is what we call imposter syndrome. And now the first time I was introduced to the concept of imposter syndrome was in my MBA, because I talked a little bit about how the performance atmosphere of the school that I went to created a lot of imposter syndrome. A lot of people were like, well, am I really cut out for this? Am I really built for this? And the only thing that countered imposter syndrome, even for me, was experience, was having done the thing that I thought was beyond my realm of skills and capability to do. And I think that that's the one message that I don't hear a whole heck of a lot of, is that you build confidence through action. And when it is the case that you do, the more that you've done, the more experience that you gain in life, the more confidence you feel in your ability to go through whatever comes next, even if you're not entirely sure how you're going to get through that. And so a lot of how I have pushed through some of the really unconventional situations that I've been through in life is because I have cultivated this inner confidence. I think even before my MBA, a lot of my career moves were a lot of me selling myself as being able to do something that I hadn't yet done before. And I was able to not just sell myself, but perform in alignment to what I pitched, to the value proposition that I provided. But at first, it was really untapped potential. And untapped potential is also, it translates as unrealized confidence. And so I remember very early in my career when I got my first training and development role. And so I got into training and development with my cognitive neuroscience background. I considered it to be the equivalent. That's how I sold it as being the equivalent. And I started off in an insurance company. And so I worked my way up in that company. So they had known me from when I was still doing my undergraduate degree. But when I thought it was time for me to move forward in my career and find something new, I wanted to explore more the psychology element of my cognitive neuroscience degree. So that's a very multidisciplinary degree. It involves philosophy, it involves psychology, it involves robotics and artificial intelligence. Like there's a lot of different themes that play into the philosophy of mind. And cognitive neuroscience is really just trying to extrapolate all of the different cognitions and how that translates in our behaviors, right? So it's more than psychology, it's more than philosophy, it's a combination of a lot of different things. And so I was exploring, like, what did I want to do my master's in? And I definitely knew I wanted to do my master's. I didn't know what I wanted to do it in. And I thought that maybe I wanted to find first a career that really did create a juxtaposition between psychology and business, because the insurance company did make me fall in love with working in business. And so that's when I found my second company, which was an HR tech company. But I really had to sell myself. I really had to sell the vision of how I was going to develop and deliver a training that created value, that minimized risks associated with providing the support that they needed. And a lot of the training that I had done before was within an insurance environment, so it didn't necessarily involve the psychology element. Whereas I was moving towards an HR tech company, which was more about emotional, psychological, mental support, supporting, working adults in the different life milestones that they were in, and also providing some training for their front office staff, which involved teams of triage consultants who typically were undergraduate students who were working towards getting their master's in social psychology or in psychology or in sociology, or people who actually did have their therapist license and they were working as our in-house therapists. So we had different imminent support therapists, so people who would help those who were calling in who were in some sort of emotional crisis. And so I had to really take what I had built, the acumen and the competencies that I had built in a completely different market, and I had to be the one to communicate how it translated. And so I was able to do that. And I was able to do that because I felt confident in what I had delivered was of a strong value in my initial company. And I also felt really confident that I had a strong understanding of the key philosophies that I felt was going to create a win. So I did get that job. And so there's always this period of time where you're bridging the gap, right? Where it's like, okay, well, did I oversell myself? Was I too confident? Was my head too much in the clouds. And 6 months later, when I delivered a training that had radically different results, people were retaining the training information, people were asking for my training as refresher trainings, I knew that I wasn't overselling whatsoever, that I knew really what key concepts were required to be able to create a training program that was going to deliver the results that a business was looking for if they're going to invest time in training someone. And when I think about life is much like that. There's a lot of people who can look at you and see the potential in you, but you have to be able to see that potential in yourself. And the best way to see that potential within yourself is to put yourself out there, is to give it a try, is to put your neck on the line and then see how you feel, right? And I say that kind of tongue in cheek because no matter what the outcome is, you putting yourself out there is a big win. But if you put yourself out there, you don't necessarily get the results that you're looking for, then you just figure out a different way to do it. You just pivot and you do a lot of trial and error, that you can cultivate that confidence. Because confidence is a muscle. It is built, again, with experience. It is built when you do give yourself the opportunity to learn. And so a lot of us have had helicopter parenting, so parents who might not have necessarily been patient enough to wait for us to get it on our own, or didn't necessarily want us to show that we could do it on their own because it made them feel like they weren't as useful as a parent. And so it's really hard to break free from that sort of paradigm, to then figure out, well, you know what, even if I can have support, even if someone can help me through this, I know that it is the best for my own personal development and my own sense of inner confidence, and I figure out a way to do it on my own. And so that's what inner confidence is really about. It's about building the muscle through experience to develop the inner belief that you can do the things that you're pushing towards. And so even for me, like, Project Purpose has been a big goal of mine, and I'm pushing towards it. And I only believe that I'm going to achieve it because of the things that I have achieved in my past. They show me that I have what it takes to be able to push towards this dream and this initiative. And while life is still happening, there's still life all around me that requires my attention. I can manage life while still pushing towards the goals that mean a whole heck of a lot to me, and doing it with confidence, because my confidence has been built through experience, through going through hard times, good times, the worst of times, going through it all and coming out on top. And having that inner trust is just so important. And I don't think we talk enough about the importance of having trust in ourselves, but cultivating a sense of trust in yourself gives you the ability to take risks, make mistakes, and get messy, right? And I think life is about doing those specific things, not living in a box, not living small. And while circumstance might cause you to live small for a period of time, don't let it ever be forever. Keep pushing towards your goals, keep pushing to your dreams, and see them come to fruition. And so sometimes the way that we do this is we find an accountability partner, we find people who are building something within the same vein, and we can hold each other accountable to those specific milestones, or we can do it by ourselves. Maybe it's the safest thing or the best thing for you to do it on your own. All I'm saying is there's more ways than one to Rome. There's different ways that you can create the success that you're looking for in life. And it's always important, I think, to like be a motivating voice sort of in the ether. I think there's a lot of fear mongering around it, breaking out of the norm and doing things on your own. And as someone who really strongly believes in giving people the skills to make the types of choices that enable them to live a life of alignment, fulfillment, and of meaning, I mean, I have to live that, right? I have to live that every single day. And like for me, like my confidence, I wasn't born out of the womb confident. I was very unsure of myself through a lot of different things. And it's only because I pushed through the fear and I made myself do it anyway that I started to build on that confidence. And the more things that I did that people didn't believe that I could do, because I didn't necessarily have a chorus of individuals around me who believed in me, especially when I decided that I wanted to do my MBA. A lot of people deterred me from doing that. But I knew, like, once I realized that the juxtaposition between psychology and business wasn't going to be me trying to create a business in psychiatry, like that wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to support business strategies and business initiatives by helping with people strategies, or at least building the bridge between the two, because I love the intellectual exercise and challenge that comes with bringing a business strategy to life. And I also love people. I love working with people. I love having a positive impact on people. I don't even consider it to be a work of altruism because I love it. It feeds my spirit so much. And so the way that I want to do that is through social entrepreneurship, but then also working towards creating impact and positive impact in my career. And I think that digital transformation, as mundane as it might sound to some people, it's truly changing the way people work. It changes the way people show up at work. It changes the quality of life people have. Like, people don't realize how much really plays into a digital transformation, like the ecosystem of work and the systems that those ecosystems are built off of. And I could go on a rant about this. I could talk about it forever because these are very, very big passions of mine, but I'll leave you with this. If it is the case that you're looking to cultivate confidence today, try something. Do something small, do something consistently, or try to cultivate a certain degree of consistency. I mean, we can fall off the wagon as many times as we need to. Like, life is about growing, it's part of the journey, but get yourself the experience that you need to have the confidence translate as a byproduct of it. That, I cannot preach that enough. I think experience is the best way to cultivate confidence. And the more that you are able to do things alone, the more confidence that you have in your ability to push through some of the hardest things that I'm sure life has yet to put in front of you, or has already put in front of you, and you're pushing through it right now. Who knows? But for those of you who are still listening, I want to hear what you feel is a strong driver of confidence. Like, what have you done in your life where after you did it, you felt like, I feel so much more confident in myself. I feel so much more able to do the things that I want to do. I feel less fear around pushing towards things that are unconventional, that have a higher risk associated to it. I would love to know that feedback if you could leave it down below. And thank you again, all of you, for listening. And just so you know, we do offer programs. We offer dedicated workshops for adults and children alike to cultivate this self-mastery, this inner reflection, this critical thinking that, again, enables them to create a meaningful and fulfilling life. And we think that leadership can't start too small. And so for our parent-child workshops, we offer core leadership programs focusing on self-efficacy, compassion, autonomy, and self-concept. So something for everyone in your family, definitely something for you. Thank you again so much, and I look forward to chatting with all of you very soon. Please do check out all of our social media platforms, follow us on each and every one of them, and I'll see you later, guys. Bye.